Hey everyone, this is Monica at Tranquil Living, where we help you turn your chaos into calm. In today's video, I'm going to go over something that I think every organized person already knows, but I think it still needs to be said. Today, we're going to talk about the importance of labeling. Let's get into it. Labeling is something that I utilized all the time in my classroom as a way to help 20 plus students be able to know where everything goes so that they can put it back at the end of the day or throughout the day when we were cleaning up our messes. Now, this is not something that many people think about in their own homes, but it's extremely important so that not only you know where to put things, but also where other people in your house, maybe friends if they come over, or your family or your kids or your spouse, they know where to put things and where they go. Now, in the store it phase, we will find homes for every single item in your home so that things can go back into their homes again and again. But sometimes you might forget where you decided to put something. Where was it that you were wanting to put those lip glosses? Or where was it that those kidney beans were supposed to live on the shelf? The most important thing about a label, whatever type of label that you choose, is that the label can be removed easily. If you are utilizing glass jars, very sustainable material in the fact that it lives on forever and you can utilize it again and again, and you can use it in multiple different ways. But the problem with glass jars is removing the labels that are already on it when you bought it. If you can somehow master how to get these labels off, please let me know. I try something different every time and it works different every time. But once you get that label off, you want to make sure that whatever label you put back on an item is easily removed. So there's one thing today that I'll talk to you about that I feel is the easiest thing to use, and I've been using it for quite some time now. And there's also some other options that I'll share as well. Now, you can go ahead and buy a labeler if you want to. There's all kinds of different labelers on the market, and they come with label material already. Some of them spit out the labels, some of them, like the Dynamo that I used to have probably 20 years ago, that had, it was sticky stuff on the back, but it was almost like plastic that it would come out on. And then you would put that label on, even though it was easy to remove. I stopped using that because it was plastic. And I know that once I made it, I could never reuse that bit of plastic. And then it ended up in microplastic and whatever. What I'm using now actually is a form of plastic as well, but they've gotten a little bit more eco-friendly with it over the years. This is just Scotch tape. Now, not all tape is created equal, please let me tell you. This tape is called magic tape, and it's slightly opaque. It's not completely clear. Whatever the adhesive is that they use on this, it comes off very easily. And I utilize this on my glass jars because I have utilized other types of labels that I was then struggling to get off of the glass jars, which then drove me insane. You can also use chalk markers on glass jars, and sometimes you can use Sharpies or other permanent markers and you can get those off as well. But I find with these, it comes on and off very easily when I want to, say, change the spice that's in a particular container. I can very easily remove the tape, and I can reuse this tape if I wanted to on a different jar or a different container. So once you remove it, you can stick it back on again and again. I don't know how long the stickiness lasts because I haven't removed so many of them. But I do know when I do want to move it around and use different jars for different spices or different beans and other dried goods, it moves, it sticks, it stays stuck, it's fine. I just use a Sharpie or another permanent marker to be able to write on these. And as you can see in this video, I have utilized it in order to label all of the dry goods, and I also use it to label my spices as well. It's a bit hard to see on video, so I'll try to include a photo of the spice jars here, but you can see it easily if you're actually standing there. It's a little bit harder to see it if you're on camera. So if you're a mom or a parent and you have kids and you want them to be cleaning up and organizing on their own, utilizing labels is a great way to help them to know where things go and how to get things back into the home that they belong in. Now, this doesn't have to be words. You can use pictures. You can use symbols with small children. So it doesn't have to be something that is written if your child is not reading yet. If you want all the blocks to go in a particular space, you just print or draw a little icon of a block, and then they know that all the blocks go back in that. If you want books to be by the color rainbow, for example, you just put a color rainbow label, and then they know that they're going to color code those books, or maybe you just want them to throw all the books on the shelf as long as they're standing up straight. Totally up to you, depending on their age. For me as an artist, I label things. And when I go into my space, I've already told you before, in order to be most effective, you want your space to be organized so that all the things that are for a particular area are within one area. For example, if I'm painting, I want all my paint supplies to be in the same area. I don't want to have to go to 4 different shelves to be able to find all my paint supplies. Another way for me to remember where things go is to put labels on the baskets. So I'll include some content here that you can see. My supplies are organized based on the type of art that I'm going to be creating. So if I'm going to be doing crochet, it's in a basket. If I have different paint supplies for watercolors versus acrylic paints, those are in separate baskets. My coloring pencils and sketch materials, that's in a separate basket. So time and time again, I have utilized labels on baskets so that I know what goes back into what area. When I have creation parties, it's important that my guests know that there is a particular place for things, but it helps them to find things. If I'm in someone's home or at a different place and I'm staying with someone or I'm visiting someone, and I'm doing a particular activity, if things are labeled, I can very easily do that activity because I can see what everything is without having to rifle through and look at different things. So when I have my creation parties, people can very quickly see where the materials are for particular types of art. They can go to that, and then they know that it goes right back into that place when they're finished, so that it's not a lot of cleaning for me to have to do at the end of that party. So if you have boxes, if you have jars, if you have specific places in your house for specific things, think about how you can utilize labels so that everybody knows what's supposed to go back into that home, and they can help you to pick up and clean up and be clutter-free. If you're in the house by yourself, it's just going to remind you of what is supposed to be in that area. And when you're trying to find things, it'll be easy for you to find it because there's a label that tells you where it is. One thing that I don't think enough people talk about is the labeling that they use within their digital storage. Now, within my book, I go through lots of different ways that you can be more organized within your digital storage. And one of the main ways is to use labeling. Now, I have seen many people's computer screens and their desktops, and it literally gives me a heart attack every time I see it. They have screenshots all over. They have folders that say untitled and new folder, and there's no labeling that's happening. When you are organizing anything, labeling will help you to know where to go to get whatever it is that you need. Now, you can do search functions and things, but the more labels you use, the easier it will be for you to find things later. So let's see what that would look like. If you notice here, I've got some movies. They're actually video clips, and they're not labeled. So they just show up as a .mov file, and it has the name of the video. I can open each of these things, and obviously when I open it, I will know immediately what it is, but maybe it's been a while since I've actually filmed that, or maybe it's something else, and I don't exactly remember what it is. Then I have to go in and I actually have to watch the content to see what it is. Now, if I had already stored these within the appropriate folder with the label, then I wouldn't have to even open it up and see what it is. Even with things like screenshots that people save, things are automatically sometimes saved to the desktop. You should always include some sort of a label so that you know exactly what it is. Or if you're only using that screenshot for a particular thing, go ahead and delete it and get rid of it. If I go into my Tranquil Living folder, you'll see here that I have multiple folders. And then within that folder, say I want to go to the videos, then I'll open the videos folder. Within that, I have particular subfolders within that, and each of the things is labeled. Now, I could go into more detail and label particular videos with different names or what have you. but that's not really necessary. So folders within folders, labels within the folders help you to stay digitally organized. Check out my next videos on how to be more organized and how to gain tranquility in the process.